just sharing with you guys in discussion. I'm not so much here to educate or teach you guys anything new, more just talk about the journey that I've had over the last 35 years and values that I find are important to me. So tonight's chat is community to destiny. So what I'm going to do is, Martin got all of you guys to just turn your phones down. I'm going to get everybody to just pull their phones out for a second. And just put it up in the air. Show me that you got it. Show me that it's on. Now I'd like you to right now think of one person in your life that you value, that's been an important part of your community. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think of something that's on the heart and message them right away now. Something that sparks out to you about that person that you'd just like to thank them for being that value in your life. Just put your hand up when you're done. Boom. Awesome. Great work, guys. So the talk tonight that I'm going to be talking about, as I discussed, is community. And the first quote of the night is going to be this one: every successful individual knows that his or her achievement depends on a community of persons working together. So I'm just going to take you through how important that's played in my life. To be able, and one of the things that over the time period, particularly the last 20 years, that stood out to me is how much we look through the world in our own lens. As we go through the night, I'm going to share a bit of my journey, but one of my mentors that I've had in the past always spoke to me about, generally, we look through the world and we look in our own world, and we generally look at the cup that's right in front of us rather than looking up and having a look at the world above and seeing how the world is actually viewing what's going on around us. And the people that we generally surround ourselves with is the people that I've found are the difference between how we actually move forward in life and how we don't. I've gone through a journey where I was actually born in a family of 6 kids. My parents had a high value system from the word go of building a community for us to live in. 6 kids in our family. And in that I learned a lot about sharing, caring. We had a big house, then it got downsized to a house of 3 through a loss of a business with my dad, and we suddenly went from having a bedroom each to sharing a bedroom with a brother or a sister. Well, in this circumstance it was five boys and 1 girl, so she got to share with the younger brother. And the values that taught me was about sharing and about caring for the person beside us. And that played a massive part of my life in the first 10 years as I went through a lot of difficulties at school. As the journey went forward, we moved to Brisbane, and I got to be a person that came to school with a lot of challenges in my life. Dyslexic, reading and comprehension ability. As I went to year 10 of a year oneer, and as I came down to Brisbane, my parents weren't the most financial, so I kind of hit the streets as a 13-year-old with a resume and a country way about me, and knew the numbers game straight off the bat. So my parents said, if you want to go out there and have anything in life, you're going to have to go out there and work from it and create your own finances. So I took that literally. I hit the streets. I remember hitting, I think, 200 businesses in around the local area with my resume, my big smile, my country way, my parents' integrity and my parents' morals. Out of that, I was lucky to get one business that actually said, "I'll take you on." Now that seemed to be extremely valuable at the time for me, because I went in through a phase when I first came to Brisbane of struggling to fit in to the community. I went from a school of 200 kids in Chinchilla in a country town to a school of 2,000 kids at Ferny Grove High School. So that was quite enlightening when I first went to that school, and trying to find my feet in amongst the group. I went through many different groups and many different scenarios, trying to find a group that shared my values and my belief system even from a young age. As I entered into the working world, the business that took me on was a young Greek guy, 22 years of age, heaps of business experience, strong family values, and he was out to do it and show that he could do it on his own without the family's backing, which had been 30 years in that business that he had entered into. What entered in front of me was a gentleman that had a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in what he did, and had a lot of values and a lot of beliefs in around creating community. So his first objective as a business owner in the local area, which was a fish and chip shop / burger / pizza shop, was to go out there and create community within his business, and was extremely successful at it. Now for me and my part, he also taught me the value of working my way up to be able to add value to that business and to that community. And the way he did that was, I came into the business, this little redhead, 13 looked 6. So I don't know whether it was because of my looks and how tall I was, he kept me at the back, or whether it was because he wanted me to work up through. But either way, it worked. And he said, "Darren, if you want to go from here to there, you're going to start out the back, and you're going to just fold boxes when you come in, fold and crush boxes and do dishes." And me being a little competitive redhead, and that competitiveness came from having a family where there was 5 boys and had to fight for everything. I caught many floggings, both from the older and younger, because I was so small. But that taught me resilience. My parents had already and always had a strong work ethic, so I was able to take that in the workplace. And he said to me, "You work your way, get good at that." So I was going to be the best out the back. So I quickest at the dishes, cleanest at the dishes, putting the boxes. I worked my way through that for about 6 months before he said to me, "Darren, now you can come out the front." So I came out the front. He said, "You can stand beside me and learn how to cook." So for 6 months, all I did was stand beside him and serve with him and learn how to cook. Then I went on to serving people. And then I went on to the next level, and eventually by the age of 15 I was running that business, no worries at all, from Friday to Sunday. But the biggest value I got out of that was how he actually conducted himself with his staff first, then it caught through to his customer. So he built an extremely good culture behind the workplace, really looked after us and cared for us. And that showed the way he took on a dyslexic kid that could barely read or write and flipped that around to a guy that could actually run his business and give him leverage from the busiest nights of the week, Friday through to Sunday. What evolved from that was a little side business, and enabled me to get creative with my entrepreneurial side, and I ended up earning more money out of what I was doing for him at the pizza shop outside the schoolyard, selling slices of pizza to the school kids. I initially started doing it in the schoolyard until I got shut down, but Actually, it is funny now. I go back to it. So I ended up going back to I could have just cut back my hours, and when I think about it, and actually just started doing that for myself. But the value I was getting out of the place I was in, I'm learning how to build community, how to improve my my business strengths and so forth, was invaluable. Now at 14, I also got sent away on a camp by my parents by a guy called Skip Ross. And that guy was invaluable for me to be able to start changing my belief system on how I can actually go out there and start creating further past what I'd seen in my life by my parents and the direct circle that I had. And this was a 2-week camp down in the Blue Mountains. And through that period of time, I got to run beside Skip every single morning and just chat with him. And he eventually started pouring into me things that would be inevitably a large momentum for me towards the rest of my life. Anyway, so I set a goal when I was 14 at the end of that camp to make changes straight away. I'd written them down, read them every day, and those goals were to have my own business by the age of 19, which I went on to have. Then I had a pizza shop after the back of that. So by the age of 23, I'd had 2 businesses, crashed them by 25, and then reality started kicking in on what I actually wanted out of life. I was a triathlete at the same stage, and that's when the health industry came into my life. And I made a shift in where I wanted to go. Through that period, they say that, and there's another gentleman in the room that's big on it, you build your belief system between the age of 3 and 7, is it? And so if I look back to it, my belief system between that age was what I had in front of me with my parents, and they bred community. They bred integrity, moral, strength of character. They enabled me with a family that I learned to fight for things and go after what I wanted. The next step was having a mentor that believed in me, showed me how to actually give past myself into another community. That same period of my life, I had another mentor that came in that said, you can do it, don't listen to what's going on around you, dig deep, find out what's within, and start setting a goal towards what you want. Not what everybody else wants, what you want. And in that period of time, he came at the right time, because I went through the whole system of if you weren't achieving academically within a classroom, you knew about it. You knew about it by the teachers, by your peers, in the sit down with the teacher and the parents. You knew about it. Psychologically, that can go 2 ways. That can really send you on a factor that is what you are, or you can have a different line of view, which is I'm going to use that as a way to actually push me forward and create a different belief system. And that's what luckily he had for me. So I went from that. I had a teacher at school started recognising I was trying. So I found out in year 10 that I was dyslexic. I found in year 10 that I only had the reading and comprehension ability of a year 1er, and I'd just been passed through. So I went on another personal attack of setting a goal that I went from failing everything at school through lack of understanding and teachers not understanding, to building a community in and around me over the next 2 years that had my back on actually passing everything over the next following last 2 years of my schooling, which I did. And it wasn't just because of me. I had a community around me that backed me. I honed in behind that community, and it was them that actually pulled me through off the back of me just committing. I think we're caught up in a world these days that's me, look at me, look what I've achieved, and not enough. Well, hang on, how have I actually got there? Who's been in my life and supported me? And that's what that text was about. So we went on to that. I achieved that by the end of year 12. Me and the team behind me that supported me actually got me there. So teachers, my current boss, my parents, all supportive of me to go on and achieve the goal that I'd set when I was 14, which was to have my own business by the age of 19, which I achieved. Second business by 23, 25, lost it all through... if I look back now, it's just a lack of a further goal. I was earning a lot of good money by the age of 21, and that stage of my life at 25 was a great learning curve, because I suddenly learned, when I look back now, to if I keep on going this way, and I could have just went out and reopened it and started again of what I'd done. It was easy for me to make money out of that side of my life. I'd done it that long. And I went, I can go back to that and go and keep on the path I'm going, or I can change the path and have a look at what's within me and find what I really want out of life. Find a new community that's actually going to get me there, help me get me there, and keep on pushing. So that's how I ended up in the health industry. I was a triathlete for about 4 years. Loved it. Loved the training. Loved the community. Loved the feeling. I just love being out there, go out there and train with others and actually be a part of people that are looking to move forward in the same direction. So I was quite passionate about that. I got in the fitness industry, went and did my qualifications. I needed to do that. Set a new goal. And that was to always, with my wife, who's a naturopath by trade, we set out before we got into the industry. So my goal out the back of it was to always have a to and through goal after that. I didn't have a to and through goal with the previous business. It was just to accumulate more until bang. So me and my wife ended up opening up a PT studio at West End that turned into being a 24-hour gym. We ended up having 22 PTs working out of there within about a 2.5 year period. Went on to open our second gym 12 months after that, where again we accumulated another bunch of PTs. So getting back to what tonight's about, which is community, I had to really think about this and make sure that I didn't want this chat about me, guys. I don't want it to be about me in any way, shape or form. Like I said at the start of the night, I'm not here to teach. I'm not here to educate you. I definitely don't feel that I'm above anybody else in this room. I've been through what I've been through in life, learnt a lot of lessons, and the biggest lesson I've learnt is you're only as good as the community that's around you. You're only as strong as the community around you, and you're only ever going to get more out of life by the community that you keep on accumulating around you. And it's not about you. It's not about me. And that sometimes is hard, particularly for a male, because I've been there, young, ego, it's me. We're in a world where there's music that's all about what I'm accumulating, me. TV shows me. So my world isn't about that. It's about accumulating mindsets and people around me and input that's going into me educationally wise, TV, whatever I watch, it's all trying to aim towards people that's got a mindset of the same belief system, which is out there in the world trying to, and Martin brought up the go-giver before on that principle, which is the go-giver. So my daily goal now is to think in the morning about my day and how I'm going out to achieve that. When I started the gym, my wife and I spoke quite highly about that topic, is how are we going to make this business not about Darren and not about Melissa and not about just about making money. How are we going to do it where we can actually go out there and help particularly young PTs learn about building their own community within our community and have that catch out into the public. So we went about doing that. And that took a certain process to be able to do that. And we learnt about building foundations. So that's a picture of a pool. Big Am would know that one. That's actually my pastor's pool. He's actually just had that recently built. That's at the top of Coomera, and he's just had that recently built. He's spent a nice coin on it. Looks lovely. It's got great views. And just in the last 3 weeks, since the downpour, just underneath the back of that pool, it started giving away. The land has started giving away because the foundation wasn't built right. So he suddenly found out that the pillars that you need and the strength of the pool, there's only 3 of them when you need 30 to 40. So now he's in a battle to get the foundations right in that pool, and he's back to square one with getting foundations right. So in relevance to what I'm talking about, before I started the next journey in my life, I wanted to make sure the foundations that we were taking forward out of our previous experience, the foundations were right. And how do we bring that in? So that, for me, all started with me and Melissa. How do we get ourselves right? And that came down to daily habits. Those daily habits were quite easily when we looked at what type of industry we're in, which was the fitness and health industry. So we went about making sure our day was ourselves about that. So things like making sure we're reading the right material, putting ourselves in the right headspace, listening to the right stuff, making sure I've got actually a mentor in the industry that I'm in, which I did, still have. And we went about that. And we had PTs coming through that started attracting to that. I think we went through, for the 22 PTs we went through 250 PTs. I just went through that before our talk. We went through 250 PTs to get 22. And not that there was anything wrong with the other PTs. It's just the ones that fit our belief system is the ones that we wanted to work with. Those PTs all went through the same system as us, which was making sure that their value system, belief system, was aligned with why we were in industry and why they were within industry, which was going out to help people. If they thought about the dollar first, before that, they never were going to fit the team. So we went through a 3-month period where we had stepping stones for they to get through. It wasn't KPIs on earnings, it wasn't KPIs on clients, it was actually KPIs on them. How they were actually responding to the materials that needed to be read every single day, the accountability that we had each week, the systems in place over the 3 months of walking through a floor on a gym and building community within the floor. They were the KPIs. Now the guys that came in, still with an inkling behind their head that it was all about cash, there was two type of PTs out of that I had. One, they'd come in and all be about cash flow. They'd lower their price because their skill wasn't there, and they'd blow out. And the second one wouldn't make it because all they were thinking about was money. The guys, which one of them is just about to show you, who actually got the value system, had the same belief system, which was all about, I need to get me right before I can go and help anybody else, and nobody's perfect. I'm definitely not. They were the ones over the period of time, the 2 to 5 years that A was still in the team, and that's why I'm saying we went through 250, and B were delivering what we had the outset of doing, which was having a team that are out there to help people. And the only way I know that you can help people aggressively and rapidly, not just in the short but the long term, is actually building a community. And that rings hard. So that's one of the PTs there. Tubes, I had a whole heap of these. And that's what we used to do, is create, my outset was to create PTs that are out to create their own community of people and have that community within a gym. 22 PTs all have their own community who are responsible, but they would be creating community within their own community, which would add to our community. We'd have our community days and it'd all be rolling. It was never about me It's about building through others to help others. And generally in life, our goal is, what can I get? I've been there. That ended up being my issue with the first couple of businesses. It ended up being about me rather than building community. I'd lost it. And it was the biggest thing when I look back. In this period, I was able to come back and offer this, and we had so much fun. The gym that we were creating there was built off the back of not me, the team that was there. And then the team ended up being bigger and bigger because of the groups like that ended up just adding more value and more value and more value. Little things that we used to do to make sure that happened through the week. Community days on the Friday. Every PT, anybody involved with the business would pick come to the gym at 2 o'clock, we'd go clean the Brizzy River. And there was no hashtag Brizzy River cleanup. There's no hashtag 24/7 fit look at me. Because we didn't even wear uniform. No uniform. Why? Because I wanted them to have the feeling of going out and giving, not to try and get directly. Go out there and give. Other things we used to do is just randomly go out and once a month, one weekend, 10 lawns. Let's go get them. So as a team, we'd just go out and do it. No, we'd try and do it that no one actually knew we were actually coming. I didn't want the feeling of a direct payoff. Again, I was trying to build community within the individual, within the team. And that was the outset, and it came off really good. I could ring any of those PTs right now, and if I need something, bang, they're there. And there was plenty of payoffs. There still is right now off the back of that. So if you're looking for motivators within your business or within what you're doing at work, whether you're an employee, it could be just little things like that. How do you create community within around you? Stop thinking of you. Turn up the work and empty the bin off the back of your own back. Walk in and notice someone that's down. Man, can I help you? Give out some compliments. It could be just a, the week for the next week, I'm just going to compliment everyone.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm particularly going to aim the guys that I struggle to look in the face. Little things like that. And it all is about building character and building community. And it turned off to be very effective for us. Very effective. The other big motivator for me is my family. That was taken at Christmas time up at Cairns. My wife is from Tinaroo, just outside of Cairns, and they're a huge motivator for me. And that's the other part I think we can look at in life is family. The last gym I ended up selling out of was in 2015. Got out of the one at West End 2014. There was a couple of reasons for that, but ultimately I wanted to take a different direction, go to the next level with what we were doing, and build communities on in a more effective level. We've done it on a small level in 2 gyms, extremely successful through the teams, not through me, through the teams. These guys actually ended up being better at it a lot of the times than what I was. I just had a vision, and I knew what I want through the experiences and the hits that I'd copped. I'd actually found people that were more effective than what I was. And that's my next journey in life. One of the major motivators are these 2 lovely ladies. That's Melissa up the back, my lovely wife, and my gorgeous daughter Sarai. And for me, how do you build community within your family? And it's the same things. And going through journeys of business for me, we talk about balance in life, but it is a real balance, and it's working out what's important. And I've started making a lot of decisions now that is making sure that they're in the forefront of my head. Whereas I was making decisions on how do I make money, how does business work, and they're both important. I'm still highly involved with that, but now it's moving forward, and I've always been a person that's been not can I, it's how can I. Yeah. How can I? And this might take me longer than what I thought it would, and that's what's happening right now. But how can I? And it was getting to the point where we had 2 gyms. I just had my daughter, and my days were going from 5:30 to 10 o'clock at night. I'd never see her. And people will always tell me, well, that's just life, that's just the way it is. Well, is it? If you want to accept that, fine, keep on your journey. Because when I'm lying in my bed and I'm not, at the end of my life, I want to know that I've got those relationships in my life.
Yeah, come on.
That's what's important to me, and building that community. And how do I go about doing that? So my next part of my life is making sure that I'm doing things in my life. Building community, making sure that I've got these lovely relationships in my life. So guys, I've got 2 minutes 40 left on the clock. So if anyone's falling asleep, let's just jump up. Woo! Come on. Let's jump up. Come on. Let's just jump up a bit, guys. I've got 2 minutes 40 left. Come on. All right, let's sit. All right, guys, let's bring it home. So, I hope you've got something out of it. And I think it's about the hamster wheel. I love the hamster wheel. And I think society at the moment is caught on a hamster wheel and looking for a way out. Yeah, could this be it? Could this be your next way to find a way out for you? And putting it all in perspective. And I'm talking to myself here. I know I've heard plenty of people go, well, this talks more for me than others. Well, actually, this is a talk for me, because I've got to check myself 3 or 4 times a day to make sure my ego's not in the row and other people's agendas aren't getting on my plate. Because I'm an opportunist. And man, it's so easy suddenly for everybody else's agenda and everything else end up on my table, and I'm suddenly stressing out and freaking out because of that, rather than just going, no, what am I here for? Yeah. What am I about? Who am I? What do I want? And in the next 3, 5 years, or even 30, let's go right out. Let's think about in 30 years how you want to be seen as. People, I hear all the time about the video. How does that video play it down to your life? Well, I think that's easy to think of when you're thinking of the priorities in your life. We set goals all the time. And I used to have a lot of clients in the PTs when they were sitting with clients. Darren, how do we set goals with our clients? Because they're generally pretty generic, which is short term, which is a wedding's coming up, a birthday's coming up, Christmas is coming up, and I just want to be able to achieve for those events. So life becomes about events, and then it's the next, what's my next event? What's my next event? And trying to get goals off the back of that. Well, here's a little idea that I think makes it real easy. And it might be a stretch for you. Go out 30, 40 years, and what's my priorities in my life? Come back and start going, well, how do I start setting small goals towards that? So you might go 40, then 20, then 10, then 5, then 3. What do I need to make sure I'm doing now, tomorrow and onwards that's going to get me towards that? Not just towards the next goal. Yes, goals are important, but the goals are actually get you on track with your priorities. And that makes it easy. Heaps of gurus out there that actually will teach you on goal setting, so you're not going to get that off me tonight. But if you want to make it simple, because I need it simple, is just find out, think about, go home, just spend some time in the heart and work out what you want.
Yeah, come on.
Work out what your priorities are. They might be totally different to mine. So this chat might be useless for you. And that's okay. But there might be 1, 2 or 3 of you that's like, you know what? That resonates a bit with me and I'm going to go home and actually think about that.
Good.
So the hamster wheel for me is a big thing. And I think that's my time. Guys, thanks so much for coming out tonight. And my one question before I leave will be, are you happy with where you're at? Are you content with where you're at? And what exactly are you needing to change and how are you needing to look at changing it? Have you got accountability in towards it? And if the questions come back to you and they're not exactly what you want, start working towards working out what those priorities are. But they're the questions for you to leave with. And have a ripper night.